So this is my ZXR400. This video is hopefully going to show you how to change the clutch plates, or at least examine them, because what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to replace the clutch plates. It's been grabbing a little bit, so the first thing I'll do is take the clutch out and show you how to measure them according to the manual, and then we'll see if they need replacing or not. If they're within tolerance, then I'll just put it back. If they're out of tolerance, I'll order some new plates and then I'll continue the video and refit them. So this is a simple guide really. If you did this with the bike on the side stand, then I don't think you would have to drain the oil, because all the oil will obviously lean to the left hand side. Now because I've got this on a paddock stand, if I just zoom in, you can see the oil there. I wanted to change the oil anyway because it's turned a really shitty black colour, and this is only recently. I've only done this is within 50 miles, because when I put the new oil in 50 miles ago it was nice and golden. Now it's all shitty black. So I'm going to do this video just to show you how to, you know, change the engine oil as well, basically. So I've got my little tub there. I'm hoping that that's going to hold all the oil, but if it doesn't, then never mind. So let's get to it. Right. So I've got the tub underneath and I've loosened the nut, but I haven't taken it off yet. So you can see that the filler plug is there. If you go down to the window underneath, then you can see there's a nut there. That's called the sump plug, and that's where the oil will come out of. And as it's coming out, that should drain down. So I'll do this now. Like I say, I've undone the I undid it by hand. I undid it, but I'm turning it off by hand, and all of a sudden it'll just start pissing out of oil. Oops, there we go. And you'll see that going down. And you'll see that filling up. I'm keeping hold of the nut just in case that red tub starts getting a bit too full. Then I can stick the nut back in, empty it in my tub, which I'm going to have to do now, I think. So I'll put this nut back in. Oh, it's a bit shitty. Hang on, I need to put the camera down. Right. Obviously this would have been easier if I'd have done this from the other side with the other panel off, but you can see I've left the other panel on. So that's a bit full, I need to empty that. This is obviously not the way to do it. So you can see that the sump plug is just in a few turns. So now let me just empty that and I'll continue. So I've now emptied my red tub into that plastic container. So I shall continue to drain the oil out. So you see that that's still coming out. Slowing down now, look. So that Celebrations tub is just too small. It needed to be probably the half size again, and that'd have caught it all in one go. Right.
Hello everybody!
Right, so I've now drained the oil and put it in a container which will go for recycling or whatever. And I have now put the sump plug back in, tightened it up, so it's now empty of oil. So what I need to do now is take this off. This is the water expansion tank for the radiator. So I'll take that off, just put it to one side, and then I'll show you the next step. That's now off. Just leave that to dangle down to one side, and the two long bolts are in there. I've just given that bowl a quick grease just to put all my nuts in, whatever. So now I've got to get this off, but the first thing I need to do is disconnect the clutch cable. So if you look underneath, you see it there. Again, I've just loosened it with a spanner so it's finger tight, but it's just a case of undoing that. Taking this one right up. Like that, pushing it forward like that, which will give you a bit of slack there, and then that you should be able to just pull this lever a little bit and just unclip that. So I'll do that now. I don't think you'll be able to see me do it, but right. So you can now see that's just free, that's free. We can actually leave the cable there because it ain't going to be in a way. No. Now this lever here, what it does is it sort of like hooks on inside there, so you got to just turn it to the left and just pull it down slightly, and then that'll just come out like that. Yep. So that's it. So now we can take all these off. I'll do that now. So I've undone all the Allen bolts around the edge of it. It's done in now, and I've taken the oil filler off. Because sometimes these, if you haven't been off for ages, these are stuck on. So it's just a case of sticking your finger in and just yanking it off. So you can see there's a bit of oil and shit there. So right, on to the next step. So what you got to do is undo the 4 bolts in the middle. I've already loosened them off, and this one's loose, so you just pull that out and it's just that. Okay. I'll finish this off now. That one's loose. That one's loose. That one's loose. Pull them out. Right, so these plates should come off now. You just pull that off. Aha. I wonder why that is like that. I wonder if that's the culprit. So it might not be the clutch plates itself, it might be that bearing. And then you're left with that. Now that, as you can see, this big clutch basket with all the prongs, that's connected directly to the crankshaft. You can just see the wheel, the cog in the background. That's driven by the crankshaft, is that? And then this centre bit, you can just spin that round. This is what makes it so difficult to get these nuts off, because you can't hold that. Now, that's, I don't think that should be doing that. You should be able to spin it round, but I think you should be doing that. And I noticed that this bearing, let me just move these over there. So there's a bearing. I need to get the documents, but as far as I know that sits in there like that. Now to me, see that's, I don't think that should do that either. So I wonder if this is the wrong bearing in there. So what we'll do is, first thing we'll do is we'll measure these plates. Okay. And then if all them look alright, we'll concentrate on this bearing, because that looked a bit suspicious, did that? It just fell out. But anyway, so I've got the manual up on my screen. You can't really see it 'cause it's, I don't know what it's going to look like, but the manual is pretty poor, to be honest with you. It doesn't really tell you anything. That's just an exploded view of the actual clutch. So we've taken off these springs, we've taken off that plate, we've taken off all these pressure plates, and then we've taken that off, and that's a bearing there. One of these is a bearing. It's looking like that one, I think. But I think the bearing that's in this one is wrong, because it just seems too sloppy. So what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to check the plates. So there, friction plate thickness from 2.72mm to 2.88mm. When they reach 2.5, that's it, they're done. Clutch spring free length 39.5mm. If they reach 38.1mm, they're done. So we'll just measure them and go from there. Right, we're going to measure the springs with my digital caliper. So we're allowed to go down to 38.1. Now I've already measured these and I know they're alright, so I'm just doing this just to show you. So there's the spring. Now the battery's going on my digital thingy, that's why it's flashing. So these are alright, these are 39.1 as you can see, so that's alright. As I say, I've measured all of them and they're all 39.1. So now we'll do the plates. So I've now measured the clutch plates. For consistency, what I've done is, you can see on 3 of the tabs there's a little notch. One there, and one there. That's where I've measured them on all 3. So what I'll do again is I'll just show you how I've measured it. So just bear with us. So that's one of the plates, the notches. What we do is measure it like that. So you can see that says 3. That's how you measure them. Well, actually it's 2.8, look. Yeah. So the springs and the clutch plates are alright. I have noticed this, look. There's a bit of burn in there. See that? So I think what I might do then is, I think that this bearing is the problem with my clutch rattling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to nip onto town and see if I can get another bearing. But I think that's the problem. It just looks stupid. It looks too big, doesn't it? I don't think that's the right bearing. The outside diameter is, but the inside isn't. So I think what I'm going to go do is try and source another bearing. I may be completely wrong, but you never know. And I might just take off the actual, not the basket, but the inner part, because it just doesn't seem to, it rattles about and I don't know if that's supposed to or not. Anyway, I'll be back shortly. Right, it's starting to rain and I'm doing this outside, so I really need to either abandon it or just get cracked on. So I've got cracked on. What I've shown now is I've put the clutch plates back in. you start off with one of these plates, and then what you do is you add a metal one, then you add another one of these, then a metal one, then another one of these, then a metal one, and another one of these, and you should end up with one of these last. Now what I've done, if you look on this, you can see there's a number. Right? So all I've done is made these numbers all line up. So I'll put this one on and show you. Right, so all them numbers now, all them top tabs, they've all got the numbers lined up. So that means that all them there will line up as well. Okay. Then what I did, if you look on this middle bit, you can see there's a dot there, so I've lined that up with that, and if we look down there you'll see there's another dot there, so it's got two dots. So we'll put that back in there. Put the bearing back in there. I think that bearing's alright, but now if you look on here you'll see there's a dot there and a dot there. So what I'm going to do is line up the dots. Yep, so we'll put that on. Get our springs. Get our springs. Right, I can't do it with one hand, so I'll just come back to that. 2 seconds. So now, we've got all the numbers lined up there, we've got a little dot on there, and the dot down there, and then on the inside with them two little punch marks as well. So all I'll do now is tighten all these up. You can see I'm doing this by hand. Well, it's getting a bit tighter, so I'll take over with my D-bar. It's really hard trying to do this with one hand. Right. That's now on. That's all tight. Now this is still a bit loose. I don't know if that's supposed to do that or not. But anyway. I'm going to reuse the gasket. You should really replace them, but I'm going to reuse it because it's not too bad and it's come off in one piece. So now what I'll do is I'll put that casing back on there. So fast forward, putting the casing back on and the water bottle. Don't forget that that little bracket goes on the top like that. So now the only thing left to do is to put this in. Now you'll see that's a little bit worn actually. When these get worn, when it bloody focuses in, it is possible to weld them and grind them down again. But anyway, so what you do is, because the cable needs to be finished like that, at that position, what you need to do is, yeah, so it needs to be finished in that position there, yeah, so that hooks onto that. So what you do is you turn that 90 degrees, push it up, and then just turn it round like that. That's it, that's now hooked on. And the rain is coming down a bit heavier now, so I'm going to cover the bike up and call it a do, I think.